Good evening, everybody, and thank you very, very much for coming. This is a great moment for us. We've been working very hard towards this event, and we're very excited about putting it together. This is actually our 10th anniversary concert, and so that's something special for us. We actually started, it was on November 16th in '89. We started in the little multicultural center, the old multicultural center. And it was actually such an amazing, amazing concert that actually people in the music department said, hey, this should not be a one-time event. And I was actually asked formally to make this a formal part of the ethnomusicology program. And we became, after that concert, the UCSB Middle East Ensemble. It was really quite an event, and actually we have a number of people who have stayed in the ensemble all from that event, from that very event. And I'd just like to recognize Sue Rudnicki, Sue has led our drum section since that event, and so Sue is the leader of this whole part of the ensemble. Sue Rudnicki. And Kuros Harira Kish. One of the founding members of the ensemble. And I'll, of course, add myself into this list as we go around in this order. I was one of the founding members of the ensemble. And Brad Wright. Yassalam. Can we all say Yassalam? Yes. Okay. And Alexandra King, who I think won't come out right now, but Alexandra King was also one of the founding members. Alexandra. we are doing a number of things today. After actually a number of years, we're doing a concert with Ergun Tamer, and I'd like to bring him out in a second. Ergun is just a fabulous musician of both Turkish classical music and Turkish folk music. We're doing music from Lebanon. Ken Habib, a graduate student and associate teacher here on campus, is leading us through a set of pieces. Ken Habib, where are you, Ken? Ken is leading us in a bunch of pieces from by the famed Lebanese singer Feiruz. And we have a number of people helping us with the a short Persian set, including Kish has helped us with the song texts. So this is again Kurosh Hadriga Kish. I actually wanted to thank Bula for all the times that she's helped us with Greek music, even though today we will not be doing Greek music. But I just wanted to thank Bula for all the... And then we have a very special finale in which we're having actually a dancer with whom we haven't worked for 5 years, and I actually went back to my computer and opened up just to see exactly how long ago it was. It was December 4th. In 1994, so exactly to the day, exactly 5 years, we have not worked with her, and she's going to be doing our finale piece. So we really think we have a very, very exciting concert tonight. We thank you very, very much for coming. I know the holiday season is going to be crazy, and there are a lot of things you could be doing, and we really thank you for coming out. And we'd like to, at this point, ask Ergun Tamer to come out. Ergun. We are going to start off with a set of pieces of Turkish classical music in a suite form called Fasil. And this includes, as it says in the program, it includes both instrumental pieces and chorus pieces. And Ergun will be playing what for us here is a very unusual instrument called the tambor. And so I've asked Ergun to say a word or two before we get started, just about the instrument and perhaps about the initial suite of pieces we'll be playing. Ergun.
This is the tambur, and it's one of the oldest Turkish classical instruments. It's quite often used in whirling dervish religious ceremonies, as well as old classical palace music. In Turkish music, one full interval is divided into 9 little pieces. I don't know if you can see, but I have most of those frets on this instrument. Melodic line is played on one set of strings, and there are 2.5 octaves I can cover. Because of that, I can get an intonation that's very specific to Turkish music. The pieces we are going to play tonight are put together in a fasil form, where there is an instrumental introduction piece, vocal pieces in between, and then an instrumental pieces at the end. And I hope you'll enjoy.
Let me just add one more thing, if I may, Ergun.
Yes.
You know, in Western music, we just divide what we call the whole step into 2 parts. And what Ergun has just told us is that Turkish music divides the whole step into 9 parts. And so obviously, if you want an instrument that is going to allow yourself to play the various 9 parts, you have to figure out what you're going to do about it and how you're going to make an instrument that can divide a whole step like this. One of the ways to do it is to have a string that is just so long that the whole step actually covers, in a violin, the whole step covers this much space here. If you can just see how small, so how are you going to divide that into a large number of parts? Well, if you make it a cello, because it's so much longer, the whole step becomes like this. If you have a double bass, the whole step becomes like this. And then when it starts becoming this big, then you have room to divide it into 9 parts. And so this is exactly what people have done with the tambor. And then you see these frets. So Ergun actually has frets to cover
low division I have frets. I don't know if it is visible from around there.
Sosum
So this opening set was a suite of Turkish classical music, and one of the main instruments of the Turkish classical world, the tambur. And the genres, the first genre, the peshrev, and the classical vocal genres, the sharkar, of which we sang two examples of sharkar, and then saz samai, and finally the longa in the 2/4, the last piece. So this is an example of a set, of a suite. It could have been longer, it could have been shorter. We could have added many more vocal pieces, and it's an expandable form, the suite form. And now we'd like to turn to Turkish folk music. And Erdogan now has shifted to the main Turkish folk instrument, and this is called the ballama saz. Would you like to say a word or two about the saz, maybe?
Saz is, I think, even older than tambur. It's all the way from Central Asia to North Africa and in the Balkans. There is one form or another of this instrument. And it's main folk music instrument. You may have seen President of Kazakhstan, when he gave a speech, played one of these. So it's a widely used instrument. In Greece, it's bouzouki. In Lebanon, it's bouzuk. Anyway, it's one of the main instruments in Turkish folk music as well.
And we'd like now to to perform and ask our dancers to come out and perform an example of Turkish folk music from a region in southern central Turkey, where one of the main rhythmic instruments are wooden spoons. And so we'd like to bring our dancers out for a Turkish spoon dance. Thank you. second comment. We'd like to ask Ken to come down and lead us in this next piece. So the Arab world also has, we're going to move now to Arabic music, and specifically Arabic music from Lebanon. The Arab world has its own suite forms and its own pieces of music that fit in the suite forms. Actually, many of them are the same, some of the instrumental pieces. Some of the instrumental pieces are actually the same, sometimes actually put in different places. So the Salsamai that we saw in the Turkish piece might actually begin an Arabic suite. So although they're shared pieces, somehow they're used quite differently, often. And but what we're doing next is not a traditional suite, but rather a suite by modern composers. And Ken Habib is working on a doctoral dissertation on the woman singer Feiruz. And the two people with whom she worked are composer and lyricist, the Rahbani brothers. And the Rahbani brothers put together a suite for Feiruz, not along traditional lines, but with all of the pieces being new compositions. And one of the most famous suites they put together was an album. It came out as Andalusiat. Somehow the pieces were recalling the great past of Moorish Spain, of Islamic Spain. And so these are modern pieces in a modern suite form, and composed by the Rahbani brothers for the superstar Lebanese singer Feiruz. So these next pieces are all in a suite, but a modern suite. And we'd like to ask Ken Habib to come out.
لو كان قلبي نيم أخترق نيركم ولا رضيت سواكم سرا وبدلا لو كان قلبي ميت أخترق لكنه رغب في من يعذب لكنه رغب في من يعذب وليس يقبل الله لوما ولا أنزل
Before we play the last piece of the first set, the first half of the program, I'd like to make a couple of announcements and welcome some people. First, one of the members of our ensemble, Esther Adams, had a brand new baby on Thanksgiving Day, and we'd like to welcome Esther's baby. We hope to give a copy of this video to the baby, and when he's old enough to understand, we are welcoming him into the world. So we welcome him. Yes, salam. Yes, salam. And continuing along the lines of the video which we're making of this concert and people we want to give it to, we had a very, very unusual opportunity, 7 of us, to go to Uzbekistan. And we were asked actually to be the representatives of the United States of America at an international music festival there. And so 7 of us, could the 7 of us stand and just see who ended up going to Uzbekistan? Temo, are you here, Temo? Yeah, and there's our 7. And Temo back. And it was a totally unique event for us. We arrived in the city of Tashkent and we performed 3 performances in the historic city of Samarkand. And we're part of a festival in which 30 nations were invited to send an ensemble. And we were, somehow the United States sent us. And there was actually, it was a tremendous pageantry. They really do know how to put on things in a very huge way. And the opening ceremony was an Olympic-style walk-on, and we walked on with the American flag and with a banner that said the United States of America in Uzbek. And we were greeted, it was really quite remarkable. When we landed in Samarkand at the airport, we were greeted by maybe about 10-foot-long trumpets, about a dozen of these. And the trumpets were blazing, and we were greeted by lines of women dressed in a traditional dress. It was really quite spectacular, and we wanted to take this moment to thank our interpreters who were with us the entire time, again with the idea of sending them this video. So we'd like to thank Reirat for all of his time and his love and attention. We'd like to thank Akmal, and we'd like to thank Armida for their support and their love and their attention for the 2 weeks when we were in Uzbekistan. This was the last days of this August and the first days of this September. So we thank them very much, and we thank all the forces that made it happen so that we could in fact go to Uzbekistan. So let's hear a cheer for Uzbekistan. We were there when they actually had their 8th anniversary. Their Independence Day is September 1st, 1991, and we were there for their Independence Day on September 1st, 1999. So can we hear a cheer for Uzbekistan? We'd also, one of the surprising things is, as an ensemble, we have people who are. Someone once compared leading an ethnomusicology performance ensemble to a football team. That you have people for 4 years or so, maybe 5 years, and then they take off. And so we have some stability, and then people leave us. But we actually have people return. And so after 7 years, Mark came back. Mark, are you here? Mark came back from living in Turkey the entire time. So we welcome Mark back from when he performed with us exactly 7 years ago. And we'd like to welcome Dilek, who came with him. Dilek from Turkey. So she came as his wife. This is Dilek. And so we welcome the 2 of you, but Dilek, we welcome you to America and to Santa Barbara. We hope you love it here. That's a lot. And along the lines of announcements, we have a board and a support group called Friends of Middle Eastern Music Association, and if you're interested in joining us, we hope you would be interested in joining us. We send out flyers and letters explaining our upcoming events. There is a table outside where you can sign up for this. And the board, this support group, the Friends group, is actually run by a board of people. And we'd like to thank very much our board of directors of our Friends group and ask our board members to please stand. We have some of our board members in the audience. William and Ali and Nassim and Akka and Sandy and Meg de Campo. And James Ismail, and Dwight Bentley, and Gula Aldridge. So we can't thank Kudos Haribatis. And who else is here from the board? Nagwa, are you here? Nagwa, did you come? Nagwa Sadiq. Who else are missing? So we thank you all. Madeline, are you here? We thank you very, very much. And we actually got greetings and apologies that he couldn't be here from Professor Wang Kampo, who is in New Delhi. We also have greetings from two of our other members. Mike Cromie emailed me yesterday saying he's sorry he couldn't be with us. He also is in New Delhi. Mike Cromie. And Nancy Curry telephoned me this morning from Damascus, Syria. These are our students who are abroad, Mike Cromie and Nancy Curry, and they called in just to wish us best, so we thank them for calling in, thinking of us. Are there any other old ensemble members in the audience? William. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. And to conclude these announcements, we do have refreshments outside as well as cassettes. We have a CD, we have booklets, we have t-shirts, and we have refreshments, as I said. So we'd love to have you come back after a short intermission. We thank you very, very much for coming. It's really an honor and a pleasure for us. Here we are, our 10th anniversary. And with everyone ready, we're going to conclude the first half. The first half is a set of folk music from Upper Egypt. Upper Egypt is called a Saïd. So this is a Saïdi set. I think you'll really enjoy this. This is a folkloric set based on the type of music and dance that the Reda troupe in Cairo performs. So this is a very specific type of Saïdi folkloric music and folkloric dance. Thank you very much. So we welcome you back to the second half. This is the song Ensemble. And I was not aware before, but I have been told that Nabil Azam is in the house.
Well, great pleasure to be here. Good evening. And those of you who are here not for the first time. Last time I was here and I played with this beautiful ensemble. I'm very happy to be here, especially this year, because one of the ensemble is one of the people that I supported for like 17 years here.
We are going to ask everyone to start with a solo piece, and then we're going to play the two pieces that are in the program. If you haven't caught on, all the words to all of our songs are in the program. I'm sorry if I didn't make that explicit or if you missed that, but we are up to the two folk songs in the program. It will say words second half, or part two, or something like that. The first one is Daddy, D-E-R-E, Daddy, Daddy, or Daddy. So this is what it will be after the first instrumental solo by everyone. So thanks for coming back, and here we go. next we're going to make a change here. Gary Atkins. Gary Atkins. We thank Gary and Keith for doing the sound today. It's a great pleasure. Gary and Keith, thank you very much. We're going to shift here and do a set of Persian music. And do we have some Persian folk out there? Welcome, and thank you very much for coming. The set is somewhat united. The first piece is a dance we're doing, and it's actually an instrumental version of a song by Haydé. And the set then will progress with Kish. We are asking Kurosa Kish to give us a solo on the Santur with Sue Rudnicki on the Zaro. And then we're going to conclude it with a song by Haydé's sister, Maheshti. So we hope you enjoy this set here. So we're going to start with the Haydé song played instrumentally to a beautiful, beautiful dance. Thank you. Sue Legacy. We're going to turn now in the Eastern Mediterranean. In many of the countries of the Eastern Mediterranean, one of the main forms of communal activity is the debka, or the debki dance. And we'd like to do a dance now which is from both Jordan and Syria, from this region here. And we thank Albert of Can Zaman for helping us with the words. I don't think Albert made it. Albert, did you make it here today? But we thank Albert of Can Zaman for our words. And it's in a dialect which is both from the Jordanian and the Syrian sides of this region. The debki called Jedali.
Yeah.
we'd like to ask everyone to come out and join us, this time on oud. If the night were longer, he would come out on yet another instrument. So we're going to do now two Turkish songs from the European side of the Turkish world, from a time of the Ottoman Empire, from Thrace. So both of these are set in a 7-beat rhythm, and maybe we can ask our drummers to show us the 7-beat rhythm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. So this is, how do you get 7 like that? You start with a 2. 1, 2, which is, and another 2, which is, so there's our 4, and then we're going to put a very quick 3. So it's a very quick 7. It's generally faster than the Western rhythms would think of counting a 7. So if you listen to the 7 again and see if you hear it as a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The speed is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Two songs from Thrace. The first one, Gidem Dedim, and the second one, Hijaz Mandra.
Oh
here we are right before our last set, and I just want to thank a number of people. I'd like to thank for our program. I think really a tremendous amount of work happens to make these programs. I think it's probably clear to you as you look through. These things just don't happen. There are hours and hours and hours and hours put in by a large number of people. And so I would like to start by thanking James Ismail. And we've expanded our workforce by bringing in his sister. So his sister, Susie Ismail. Susie, you here? Susie, where are you? And I'd like to thank Sue and her husband Dana for all their work in this booklet. Sue and her husband Dana. And also putting in many hours, our professor, Magda Campo. Magda. And all of his work for all the translations for all of the Turkish texts, Ensemble, Ensemble. And for all of his work with the Arabic texts, the professor here, the doctor right here, right now. And actually, there are a number of things that are interesting about this, the least of which is the note of love from Juan Campo for his wife. What do you think? What do you think?
That was a surprise to me.
Just remember that, men, when you go away, you're supposed to...
Advertising the program.
But actually, one of the amazing things is we thought coming up with these programs all the time. Of course, it takes a lot of work, but also the cover is always a piece of art. And because of the 10th anniversary of the program, we decided to reuse the very first cover that we ever had. And so this picture is actually by a good friend, Noli Pereira, who was actually the wife of an anthropology grad student at the time this was actually June 1990, our very first concert by this ensemble in this hall, in Lottie Lehman Concert Hall. And she is an artist. She has since moved back to her home in Colombo, Sri Lanka. And she's a very, very successful artist, actually. She gives her shows in not only in Colombo, but actually she's toured to different countries, even in Europe. So this is Noli's take on a very traditional Turkish painting. Actually very traditional Turkish painting, but she's made them all women. So this is our program from June of 1990. And to us it's somewhat touching just to bring this back here as a way to mark our 10th anniversary. We also like to just thank many times over Kenny, who is leaving us and moving to Germany. Kenny. Kenny is actually embarking on a tremendous career. He is becoming a professional and a permanent dancer in Germany for the government there, where he's going to be part of a folklore troupe. And so we wish him the best where he's going to be a professional dancer in Germany. Kenny. Totally impromptu here. We're going to give Kenny some sort of, what should we give him, a nine, or what should we give him? Okay, what do you want? Do you want a rhythm, or what do you want? Okay, how about something, we'll think of something here. How about something Saeed? What do you say? You start, Sue. Here we go. like to also thank Olga, our seamstress. I wonder, Olga, did you make it? Olga. Thank you very much, Olga. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of work to get all these costumes together. We'd like to thank Jeff at Your Service Video for videoing our programs. Jeff, we thank you very much. At Your Service Video. We'd like to thank our stage manager and the department event manager, Mark Sommerfield. Mark. And we'd like to thank our dear friend Gary Atkins, who's been doing sound with us off and on in parks and various events about Santa Barbara. And we're very, very happy to have him. Gary Atkins, our sound man today. With Keith. Keith, thank you very much. Thank you, Keith. And as I mentioned, not since December 4th, 1994, have we had the pleasure to work with Ansuya. An interesting thing happened. We did a gig here with her on December 3rd, and we were in good form, and we brought her down as our guest dancer to an event we did in Pasadena for the Syrian Arab American Association. And there was a tremendous concert of about 800 people in this hall in Pasadena. And Ansuya did our finale piece, and a number of people in LA saw her, and they basically did not let her come back to Santa Barbara. So since that day, she's been working as a professional dancer in Los Angeles and doing performances around the world, and we're very happy after 5 years to bring her back to Santa Barbara from whence she came. To this very stage 5 years later, we bring back Ansuya. thank you very, very much. We'd like to go around and thank the ensemble. We'd like to thank the oud players here, our oud section. Here we go. Our oud section led by Dr. James Ismail. And we'd like to thank our canoe section, led by Jim Rippo. Jim Rippo. And our cello section there, Rob. And our violin section led by Dwight Reynolds. And Brad Wright. Our double bass. Brad Wright. And double bass Gibb on double bass. And our incomparable accordion section. Accordion. And our nai section, our nai flute section. Yo! And Quiche on Santor. Quiche. And our duf, or our bendir section in the back, the big frame drums. And our tambourine section here. Sue, Rodnicki. And I don't want to forget Shirley Force, who leads our tambourine section. Shirley. And our chorus. Can our chorus members sort of wave your hands here, our chorus members? Yeah, our chorus members. Led by Professor Dwight Reynolds. And then our solo vocalist, Rob Hodges. Rob Hodges. And Renee, can you come out here, Renee? Our vocalist, Renee. And we'd like to bring out our dancers, our folkloric dancers. And the leader of our dance troupe, Alexandra King. Alexandra. Alexandra King. And our two very, very special guests, Ergun Tamer. Ergun. Ergun. And none other, Ansuya.
One final round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our maestro, 10 years, Scott Marcus.
We do have the date of our next concert. Our next concert in this hall is March 11th. Please, our next concert, March 11th. Please keep it. Thank you very much. Thank you.